Every great team has that player who does the dirty work in silence, no spotlight, no noise, while another guy soaks up all the fame right next to him, my friend. He never complains. He never shows up in the drama headlines. He never drops an explosive post on social media. He just produces, Sunday after Sunday, year after year, like a Swiss watch. And now, after years of living in the shadow of a loud star, this understated man has just received the biggest mission of his career in Philadelphia. The lights are finally about to turn entirely toward him. If you're a diehard Eagles fan, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because this breakdown is going to show you why this quiet player might be exactly the missing piece to unlock the offense in 2026, and why the team's biggest offensive bet isn't a new name, but rather someone who was already right under your nose this whole time. Get ready, because the numbers the experts are projecting are spine-chilling. Let me set the scene. With A.J. Brown's departure to New England and the arrival of a first-time offensive coordinator, the young Sean Mannion, the Eagles' offense enters a zone of uncertainty the fan base hasn't seen in a while. Someone is going to have to take on the leading role. Someone is going to have to carry the weight of being the #1 receiver on a team that wants to get back to competing for everything. And the one chosen for that task is a guy who has always been treated as a supporting act, even while delivering leading man numbers. His name is Devonta Smith, and look at the perfect nickname he carries in Philadelphia, the Silent Assassin. ESPN reporter Kimberly Martin defined it with surgical precision. She said that, inside the club, they see Smith exactly like that, as a quiet assassin. He's not the demonstrative guy, he's not the guy who shouts, he's not the guy who talks much. He simply produces. And she nailed a line that sums it all up. Will the Eagles miss A.J. Brown's production? Of course they will, you have to be honest about that. But nobody, absolutely nobody inside that locker room, doubts that Devonta Smith is also that dude. That kind of internal confidence can't be bought. Now let me bring you the projection that made Eagles internet boil over. Analyst Louis Riddick, also of ESPN, went on the show Get Up and didn't mince words. He said he expects to see Smith go over 100 receptions on the season. He expects to see him as a 1,350 receiving yards guy, pushing toward double digits in touchdowns. And the reason, according to Riddick, is simple. That's the skill set Smith has always had. It's not a guess, it's not fandom. It's what the numbers say he's capable of delivering when he gets the right volume of the ball. Think about it with me. 100 receptions, more than 1,300 yards, 10 or more touchdowns. That's an elite receiver's season, an all-pro season. But does such a bold projection have any grounding in reality? It does. And that's where it gets beautiful. Because a lot of people who follow the NFL casually didn't even notice, but Smith has been a consistency machine for years. Over the first 5 years of his career, the guy averages 1,000 receiving yards per season, 1,000 yards a year, consistently, playing in the shadow of another star. And there's more. In the 4 seasons he shared the locker room with A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, Smith led the Eagles in receptions in 2 of them. 2. In other words, the supposed supporting act was, in practice, the more productive one half the time they spent together. And if you want the exact numbers from that season, they reinforce the argument even more. While A.J. Brown closed out 2025 with 78 receptions and a little over 1,000 yards, Devonta Smith finished right behind in the catch count, with 77, but topping his teammate in total receiving yards. Practically a dead heat between the hyped-up star and the supposed supporting act, with the difference that one was constantly complaining and the other just went to work. And we can't forget a detail that weighs heavily on this scale. Smith isn't just a stat accumulator. He has already lifted the Vince Lombardi trophy. He was a Super Bowl champion in this Eagles jersey. In other words, beyond producing elite numbers, the guy knows exactly what it means to win on the sport's biggest stage. A resume that size isn't up for debate. And the most delicious detail is in last season, the 2025 one. The one where A.J. Brown lived on complaints, frustration, and controversy. Do you know what happened there? Smith finished the year with just 1 fewer reception than Brown, but with 5 more yards. Let me repeat it so you can really digest it. While one complained about the lack of the ball and turned into a soap opera, the other, quietly, delivered basically the same production. The difference is that one made noise and the other made yards. And guess which of the two is still wearing the green jersey? Exactly, the silent one. Now, despite all of this, it's curious to see how the rest of the league still underestimates this player. On a recent ESPN list of the best wide receivers in the NFL, put together with the opinion of 70 scouts, coaches, and executives of American football, Smith didn't even show up among the top 10. He landed in that others receiving votes zone, while A.J. Brown himself appeared in the 9th position, and Smith was tossed down into the range between 17th and 25th place. In other words, in the eyes of the people who work in the NFL, he's still seen as a second-tier receiver. And maybe that's exactly the fuel he was missing. Because if there's one thing this guy knows how to do in life, it's prove that those who doubt him are dead wrong. And this business of being underestimated isn't new for him. It goes way back to his college days. When he played for Alabama, analysts turned up their noses and said he was too small, too skinny, too fragile to make it in the elite of American football. Do you know what this too small did? He won the Heisman Trophy, the award for the best player in college football, one of the hardest honors in the sport. And he was still picked 10th overall in the 2021 draft by the Eagles. Every step of his career was built on top of people saying it wasn't going to work out. And every time, without saying much, he shut the critics up with his play. So when you put all of this together, you start to understand why the Philadelphia fan base is so excited about this transition. Add the discretion, the consistency of 1,000 yards a year, the track record of overcoming doubters, and then factor in Sean Mannion's new scheme, which promises an offense more based on timing and on designing plays to get the receivers open. It's the perfect environment for a surgical route technician like Smith to shine. He doesn't need brute strength, he needs space and precision. And that's exactly what the new system wants to offer. Now, to be fair and transparent, there's the other side of this coin, and it would be dishonest to ignore it. A.J. Brown's departure doesn't come only with advantages. For years, it was precisely Brown's presence that gave Smith cover. It was Brown who drew the heaviest coverage, who forced defenses to send 2 players onto him, and that naturally opened up space on Smith's side. Without that attention magnet on the other side of the field, there's a real risk of opposing defenses focusing all their energy on the silent assassin. And the rest of the receiving group, with Dontavion Wicks and rookie Mekhi Lemon, doesn't have anywhere near the same firepower that a 3-time Pro Bowler had. That can indeed weigh on the final production. And there's also the Mannion unknown. A first-time offensive coordinator is always a gamble. The scheme might take time to click. The chemistry between Jalen Hurts and the new targets might take time. And the transition from one system to another doesn't always happen smoothly. These are variables nobody can predict with total certainty at this point. So Riddick's projection, as exciting as it is not a guarantee. It's potential. And the difference between potential and reality, in American football, is the thinnest line there is. But if there's one player to bet on in this kind of situation, it's precisely someone with Smith's profile. A guy who never depended on the spotlight to perform, who has already proven productive even while sharing space, and who now, for the first time in his professional career, is going to have the offense designed with him as the first option. If there's a moment for this silent assassin to finally step out of the shadows and show the entire league how big he is, that moment has arrived. And look, against this guy, history shows that betting is almost always a terrible deal. So I want to know your opinion. Do you believe the bold projection of more than 100 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns for Devonta Smith in 2026? Or do you think A.J. Brown's absence will weigh too heavily and drag his production down? And going deeper, without Brown to pull the coverage, does Smith definitively lock down the title of best receiver in recent Eagles history, or will he feel the blow? Leave it in the comments. I really want to read what you think. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.